Oh, not good. Always goddamn thermal paste on my bench. Okay, it's better. Who's that? Ah. Good evening, everybody. Alright, so we have a 1502. Actually don't see these very often anymore. Most of them have pretty much gone off to the other world now. Off to the land of happy jobs. Even my own I've retired. Alright, let's see what we get. Oh, it kind of helps if you turn on the power supply. There we go. Green light. Looks like it's charging. Yeah, where's my chipmunk? Ooh, that does not. What the hell? It's like glue in there or something. Try the other side. Okay, so we've got nothing there. Alright, so we do seem to have a... It's trying to turn on. You see it's pulsing up every now and then. Come on, do it again. Yeah, when I power it on, it tries. So we've probably got a couple of possibilities. We've got a short on one of the PP bus rails or something similar, or we have a current sensor failure or something like that. So it's trying but giving up. The 2015 1502s aren't too bad still, but the earlier models are starting to run into random sort of weird issues. It is just easier for me to retire them now. Hey there, Pedro. Oh, that was a bit tricky to get off. And we've got a couple of zits that have popped on the battery pack. You can actually see that they've done that because of these white ring marks, and they'll correspond to little bubbles on the battery pack. So it's not exactly the best start. This is a earlier, it's not a 2015, this is a, I don't know, 36 whoop-de-whoop. I don't know. It's definitely not a 4924, that much I know. Actually, it's probably an early version because it's still using that particular brand of a solid state drive. So it's 1628. Just make sure we don't lose it. I'm trying to see if I can spot anything obvious. If I sound a little bit deadpan, it's I don't know, because I'm just dead tired. I'm not getting much sleep lately. I get tired, but I can't seem to knock off until somewhere between 3 and 5 in the morning, no matter what I do. Just lie in bed and flip and flop. Because it feels like it's never actually been disassembled before. And I do a lot of exercise during the day. That's the other reason why I'm fairly tired, is that I did a whole bunch more mowing. And just as I finished doing the mowing, the rain came down. So it means tomorrow I'll have to do more mowing. At least with this particular sort of series of MacBooks, you don't have to take that Wi-Fi card out or fiddle around with the annoying Wi-Fi antennas. Used to be a real pain if you accidentally broke one of those RF connectors. You'd be dreading it. Miles, it's not gonna... I wish I could take that option, but it's really is a case of I need to get better structure in the day. The unpredictability of the day. It's the trouble when you're working as a sole, for yourself. Of course, as you know, you don't know whether you're going to be running a... Hello, bright bug. Jeez. Flipping bugs everywhere. It's the other joyous thing about it raining as hard as it has been. All the bugs are out everywhere. Good job, Pedro. You're all out of hellos. Great. Now you can be quiet, sit back down and not annoy people. Let's see. Nothing. It's very, very clean, very pristine. Like I said, other than the battery having a bit of a couple of pimples pop. That's about it. Let's see, just go for the visual check here. So we momentarily get our 5 volts and then it just dies. I really should have tested to see if it would work okay without the battery. Given that the battery had pimple popper problems, it's entirely possible that the battery was shorted or so. I don't know. Let's find ourselves a MagSafe Flex for this model. Here we go. It's probably just going to turn out to be a bad battery. Or it's a bad daughter board. Yeah, it's a bad battery or a bad daughter board. Fair enough. Wow, that was... I was going to say, the logic board just looks way too clean. What's it going to be? Daughter board or battery? I'm going to put my money on the battery. I'll put it all back in now. I should have done that before I took it out. But I guess you sort of get into the habit, particularly with these older models, to take them out and check, the visual state of the board. Every now and then, of course, you don't get a win, as in, you do it for no reason, like we just did. But for the most part, it's ultimately required anyway. Yeah, I'm going to say it's a battery issue. Now, Miles, you only see the ones that I show. Could also be a bad keyboard. We'll try that. Okay, keyboard in. Could be a bad trackpad flex. Unlikely, but you know, could be. There's many possible reasons. Hey, it could even be, I think it might be the daughter board. We'll see. I'm fairly sure I saw some corrosion there. We shall see. Especially given that there was junk in the USB port of the daughter board too, by the way. That might make it... Anyway, we'll see. Option. Yeah. Hey, Q's. Yeah, there you go. So it's the battery. Which battery is this? This is a... Where is your number? A1493. Not sure I've got a 1493. It's not really... I don't really carry those ones around so much anymore, because in most cases they die in your workshop before you get a chance to use them. Let's see... Let's see. Let's see, A1495, how classic. 1417, 1713, 1437, yep. No 1493. Did you know that driving an LED with 70 picoamp RMS noise limit is hard? Is that because the junction is noisy, picking up all sorts of noise from the ambient environment? Like photons hitting it from the outside? Yep, this looks perfectly fine. I'm gonna plug the battery back in and see what happens. Of course, if it works fine with the battery plugged in, then we've got a lurking corrosion somewhere. Or it could be that the battery is holding one of the SMC clock or data lines down. Current limiting resistor is noisy. Oh, okay, alright, so, yep. Yes, now that you mention the resistor, that does make sense. Or it could be the drive, that's the other thing. It could actually be this. It might be this. If it goes bong, yeah, it's the solid state drive. Oh. Yeah, alright. So why do you have to have... Why are you being imposed with such a extremely low noise floor there? Maybe just get rid of the LED. You don't need it. Fantastic. None of them are really showing up as dodgy here. The contacts look dodgy. That one there might be. I'll bring the multimeter out in continuity mode and see if anything goes squeaky. Hey Ben. You don't too often get these ones shutting down the whole board. Like I said, it could easily just have been some corrosion that I've missed on the board somewhere. And it could be a case of it's just fine now. We broke away the corrosion problem somehow by moving it. Yeah, nothing showing up there either. IQs, why would you want to kill your own IQ like that? I've had a few SSDs die. Okay, right, let's try this again. Put the customer ID protection on. It's booting now. Jeez, great. Great! So it's all fixed. Totally fixed that by living up to my namesake behavior, being a magician. Alright, in that case I'm gonna say blame the daughter board. Queues, yeah, and that's actually it's gonna get worse in a short time. It's gonna get more difficult to get your downloads and everything soon. People have had a good run for quite a few years now. Now it's time to clamp down on a few things. It's kind of frustrating when machines just all of a sudden spontaneously work. It's brilliant. It means it's going to be even more difficult to fix it now. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't lose any real sleep over piracy or anything, but at the same time, I'm not going to make it a walk in the park either. This is going to be a mysterious machine, this one. Because it definitely wasn't working when we first powered it up, and now all of a sudden magically it is. That's very annoying. Eric, you shouldn't get locked out yet. You can see there was something on that connector there. You can see that there's in the middle there's a bit of something, and you can actually see the splatter there, and it's slightly liquid. So yeah, something's definitely been around here. Oh, it looks like it's flux and solder. That's kind of strange. Well, no one's used that SD slot. Let's check the connector. Crap. It's the wrong end. This is the end. You can see something has been on the inside of that. Honestly though, it's so marginal. So profoundly marginal. You ever use those Pro Masters I sent you? I hadn't had a chance yet, Q's. Hell, I still even have not had the chance to test my 4-port HDMI capture card, the one that's faulty, to try and get my money back for it, and that's $1,500. And I still haven't done that. I'm a real terror for not getting around to it. Someone needs to send me a box of round turrets. I've got plenty of square turrets, but round turrets are harder to get a hold of. Yeah, this one's gonna be annoying. Rodrigo, iPhone boards are really, you talking about like 12 and all that. There's a couple that I think I have floating around, but I have to program more editing functions into Flexboard View in a certain kind of way so that I can clean up those files, because if I don't clean them up, they really do not help anybody. Most of the files have a profound number of mistakes in them that makes it just worse. Ew, what is that? It's someone's goober. Yeah, sadly. Ben. Oh, is this a. I wonder if this is a FRU. It doesn't look like an FRU stamp. It looks like an AZQ or something like that. I don't know. So I'll just have to keep looking. Ah, there we go. 3476. Yeah, this is a. This I think is a first generation 1502. So after the 1425 was discarded, as it should have been, because it was a terrible design, we got our 1502s, which was a much better design, but I think this is the first iteration. The 1425 and the 1534, they're two MacBooks that I would charge people for me to take them. There's a lot of little bits of gnarly bits of dust and hair and things like that, but there's really nothing showing up on this. So we've got a situation where it's either a failing PCH CPU or some other fatigue thing going on, and quite frankly, it's just not worth chasing it down, unfortunately. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna have to put this one back together and say it works now, but I didn't actually do anything. Hey JCT. Unfortunately, also Rodrigo, China holds most of the board. Oh, look, you can see the laser diode. Or really, it's just a. I don't know if that one's a laser one. I think that's just infrared or something like that for the Toslink at the back at the end there. China really controls the supply of board views and schematics for the greater part of the market, even though they are from, say, Apple. It's the people in China that decide whether they're going to leak them out or not, or at least it seems that way. Is that cap? That cap is completely shattered. Just notice that. I'm very sure that cap is completely shattered. Yeah, there it is. There's our fault. Wow. That's impressive. It's impressive for so many reasons, but that is a really badly broken cap. Hey Jason, did you get those machines yet? 50 ohms. Okay, so it's a marginal short on that one. Or you got the tracking for them, Jason? Because that should have come in on your phone or your email from Australia Post. So what board did we say this was? A 3476 or something? I'll just have a look at the numbers and see what matches. 3476, 3476 or 3462, I can't remember. Okay, it's this one here, 7724. And it's, okay, so it's a 1 microfarad, 50 volt. It's for keyboard backlight. Interesting. Jason, okay, you haven't got tracking. It definitely should be there, but as in the tracking should be there, but I'll send it through to you after I've finished here. But yeah, they've long gone now. I think this will be a 2013, I think. I can't remember. I'm just slightly pickling the pads on the cap. Okay. I don't tend to remember the year models and all that sort of fancy stuff that proper technicians remember. I just see problem, I fix problem. Very simpleton I am. Wow, the poor cap is bleeding. There we go. Wow, it really went all out. It is cracked everywhere. Hey there, 10 minute. Haven't seen you for a while. Yeah, it's a 70 ohm capacitor. That's why it was sort of working, sort of not. Very interesting. It could also be that while it was in that kind of state, it would let it boot, but then as it moves around, it will periodically tend to short more completely. And then at that time, it will prevent the machine from booting up. Yeah, certainly. Well, I got to admit though, visually that wasn't the easiest thing to spot. I mean, if once you saw it, it was, but trying to find it, that was just pure luck. And you most definitely would not catch that under a thermal camera. Not normally, anyway. Especially with the rest of the system running along. The amount of heat that would perhaps... Let's see, what would we be looking at? Maybe 30 volts into 70. Yeah, you just wouldn't get much heat out of that at all. Alright, so 1 microfarad, 50 volts, 805. Wow, 805. You know what? I'm not even going to try and find one in my pile, because that's not the sort of thing I would have. I do have some other ones for backlight circuits, but not that one. Come on. I'm just pulling out a random batch here. Seeing if I can... There we go, we got one. Yeah, I wonder what board this one is. 3535, okay, so it's... Looks like they kept the same system. Yeah, Ben, that you're probably right about that. They're probably thinking, no one's going to notice that it's actually a 35 volt cap. And the backlight only runs up to 32.5 volts, so we'll be okay. Tolerance saves the day. That's it. I don't think I've ever had one of those ones failing before. Yeah, they feel like 805s to me, and these are 12.0s. Or these are, yeah, 12.06. Very square, chunky 12.06s as opposed to the flat 12.06. Oh, that's a micro call. I'm just got to get this down. Captain Ron, when I first started doing most of my electronics designs and stuff like that, 805 was my size of choice, but I very quickly moved down to 603s. I think the biggest problem I had with 805s is just the large amount of area they would take up on the boards that I was designing, particularly that I was trying to design small circuits for lightweight model aircraft. And yeah, I mean, you can fit quite a lot of them in a very small area, but you do start to notice them sucking up more space than you anticipated. Just going to make sure it comes back up, and then I'll go and deal with micro. Well, we almost gave up on that one. But in saying that, I still wouldn't have felt bad if I had given up and it turned out that it came back later. Because a lot of the time, if it's not a blatant fault, then you really do have to learn to walk away from these things. That is from a business perspective. If it's something you're just using as a challenge, then by all means stick with it. But if you're trying to make money, you've got to learn to just walk away from these as quick as you can. Better to miss out on that 1 in 10 that you could have fixed versus getting hauled down to the rabbit hole every single time. So off to go deal with micro. I'll be back. Yeah, Captain, I hate the phantom fixes as well. They plague me quite a lot, but sometimes you got to live with it. Pedro, how dare you call me the hairy man? I prefer to be the luxuriously maned man. Freaking bug just got me in the eye. Alright. Okay, so that's fixed, and look, to be honest, I'm not going to bother ultrasonicking that. That's a clean enough repair that, yeah, it's not worth ultrasonicking. Need to get that back together. Verify it still works okay. There's a bit of flux there. Hey Paul Hal. Bad news about your shoulder sarcoma. It's shit, Paul. Is it a case of it being inoperable, or just a type that they can't work on, or has it metasized? I don't know, mind you, if you don't feel like talking about it, that's perfectly understandable. You'd just rather kick back, watch some terrible board repairs, then by all means be my guest. But that's really not good to hear. And yeah, this month is also difficult for my family as well, because of 2 years ago it was with pancreatic cancer. So yeah, whenever these things come up, it's always difficult for everybody. Even worse for the person who's enduring it. Sorry to hear that, Paul. Non-curable. Well, let's hope that you can maybe... yeah, you know what? I'm not going to talk about hopes and stuff like that. Sure, you've got a million people already filling up your email with all sorts of things. I do wish you the best with it. But yeah, that's not the kind of news you sort of get and just go, oh well. You ever thought of getting into the meth business? I saw a TV documentary about that. Breaking Bad, was it? Oh, I forgot to put the damned T8 on there. It's a major pain in my backside now. Okay, that one is done. That was a major annoyance. Mike Sims, you seem to be able to chat. Mike Sims. Oh, Mike, you were emailing me today, weren't you, or yesterday, about prior occurrences of my activities in the world. I'm fairly sure you were messaging me about that, weren't you? Please tell me you were, so I don't not having some sort of bizarro out of mind experience. Hey, Gavin Brown. John, good luck for your... what? Oh, you're talking about the other one, right? I need to come up with a less common name sometimes. Jack used to be my handle. Certainly when I was in overseas, nobody knew me as Paul. It was always Jack. How's it going, Jack? Hey Jack, come over here. or I'd be in trouble. Jack! And I'm like, oh shit, okay. I remember about the worst I ever got yelled at work was myself and one of the other leading people in the department that I was in. We decided we hadn't gone out for lunch for a long time to have a chat, so we went out for lunch and we got a little, we got a little blotto, and I think we turned off our cell phones or something because we were sick of people disturbing us. And it turns out that at that time the boss was off having lunch and a show and tell with his big bosses of this multi-billion-dollar company. And there was a problem with the mail server, and the mail server was my domain. And when I couldn't be contacted, he tried to contact the other sort of contact of the department, which was the person I just happened to be having lunch with. I couldn't contact her either. And so we get back from lunch, and he also just gets back from his failed show and tell. And we're a little bit like, hi, because he's normally a very friendly guy, and we'd always go out on the weekends to their place for barbecues, or you go out to the game parks or the game resorts. By the way, when we say game resorts in the South African context, it's actually like a wildlife resort. It's not where you shoot game or anything like that. We don't do that. It's just, they call them game parks, big game parks. Needless to say, we had the absolute, we were yelled at quite extensively, and somewhat deservingly so. But it was just sheer dumb bad luck. Yeah, we got sore stuff at lunch. Didn't help that it was bloomin' good restaurant, and it was next to our building, so yeah. So I spent most of my earnings and time and evenings at that restaurant because I was a single man, and it was right next to work, and I'd finish work at like 10 o'clock, so it'd be a perfect place for me to drop in, get some excellent Italian food, and listen to them talk to each other like they're the mafia. They would actually go around and the rival gangs doing their things, and I was like, I just want my food. But yeah, so we got chewed out pretty good. I mean, he did apologise later, but I don't know why, because realistically he was very much within his rights, and we let him down and it embarrassed him. The only thing I could suggest is maybe he should have told us before he went off that he was going to be. But I suppose the mail server normally would never go down. It was a rock solid machine until that eventful moment. But after that, by that weekend, we'll probably back over his place and maybe not laughing about it, but still getting a few subtle reprimands. I think the worst thing I ever did over there was taking down the 5-star hotel server. Not that that was really my fault. That was someone installed a multi-way panel in the server room, and it was faulty. So when I plugged in my server that was meant to access their servers in order to be able to provide hotel customer information, all sorts of stuff, the whole place just promptly went down. And the UPSs didn't save it because it was on the protected circuit, so I took down the protected circuit, and then the Novell NetWare failover server happened to be also on the same protected ring, so it fell over. That was fun. That was very embarrassing, but yeah, I did it. Sometimes you just have these things where unfortunate dumb luck comes your way. Alright, I'm kind of in two minds. I'm going to put the screws back in, but I'm going to have to message the um, message pardon me, message the shop and then find out what they want to do about that battery. They may want to just replace it themselves, and I'm more than fine for them to do that, because realistically when it comes to battery replacements I don't really make any money from it. I keep hearing noises out there and I'm kind of freaking out what the hell it is. So as soon as I put these screws in, I'm going to go and check with Elita, make sure she is not fighting a zombie in real life or something. It's probably there's a bird that's hanging around in the trees that's decided it wants to be vocal even though it's quite dark. Yeah, Novell directory services was certainly a lot nicer in my opinion at the time compared to what Windows was offering with Active Directory. Okay, I'll be right back. The current one. That's like because the alright, well you have it's a Bigfoot. Probably just a red kangaroo. Alright, let's power this thing up and see what happens. Yeah, looking good. Trackpad's a little slower than what I would like, but that's probably just a personal customization, so I'm not going to mess with that. Okay. We'll leave that be. I'll give it the green tick for now, because it is, the logic board is fixed. Ow. And we will put that back. Time to deal with this Acer laptop. Now personally I told this person that it was basically going to be a data recovery job because quite frankly, you know, it's probably wrecked because you can't get the battery out of these or anything. So let's see, just make sure there's no personal information exposed on here. Well, straight away I can tell this is wrecked anyway. The hinge is... yeah, no. This is a... okay. I don't have a job code on this one. What the hell happened to the clutch cover? Wow. This thing's taken some hits. Yeah, it's taken a lot of hits and it's broken almost every single one of the clutch cover clips. Oh well. Yeah, let's get it open. Let's see what we got. I'm not going to power it up until I've opened it. Hey Greg. someone's been at this. That's a very chewed out Phillips head. Almost looks like it's a Torx head. And what are we're dealing with different size screws. Or are we? Yep, we are. That's why I like these particular plastic containers, because if you set out the screws in some reasonable form, then even if you don't take notice of the individual threads or lengths or whatever, there's a pretty good chance you'll be able to get most of them back together. Seems like it's just a case of these two are the long ones, that's all. Okay, this one here is almost completely out. Okay. Let's see, is this going to be, not sure which half the circuit board's going to be on. Okay, it's going to be on. Voila. Ew, what the hell? What is this substance right there? Should look it and find out. Ooh, okay, so we've got liquid damage on the LVDS connector. It's a pretty bad sort of thing. Now I know you could say, hey, you know, you can still save it, and it's just that, yeah, I'd rather not. And it's burnt the backlight lines. Yeah, that's so pretty. And I just realised the battery wasn't disconnected. That's fine. It's definitely a bin job in my opinion. It's sad because, you know, you do like to try to save what machines you can. What is this? This is a $400 machine, and you know, I don't mock people who get these machines, because yeah, they'd still do a job this day and age. I mean, geez, a MacBook 1466 still does a pretty good job. Okay, I'm gonna magically end up ripping that whole. What is this thing so tight? Oh, finally. That was really on. Okay, and we've got liquid through the keyboard here, so might have even gotten on the drive. But as they say, maybe for, and YouTube probably demonetized me now for this, but as I say, for shits and giggles, let's see what we can do. Oh, Ben, that's a good idea. I'll send it to Lewis here. Oh, we completely lost that left-hand pin there, but that's part of a gang array of pins. They're a pretty bad gang too. I've heard they throw people into vats of acid and corrode them away. Okay, so that's a gang of 3, and we've lost 1.5 of those. Wow, this thing's been really... Oh, look at that. That oxidization of the copper has just made it crumble away to nothing. So, well, let's see what we can do. We're going to use some 80/20, mostly because I want to try and pick up whatever water-soluble components are still floating around. The MOSFET got hit too. Shouldn't be too bad though for the MOSFET, because it is, the gate pin looks okay, so we can just carry on as if nothing's gone wrong there. That's the gate pin there, and it hasn't been corroded, which means really apart from the gate on these particular MOSFETs, you've just got your one side versus your other side, so your power that controls whether that lets power through or not. So you can have a really messed up looking MOSFET pins, but yeah, if the gate is okay, then you're probably not going to have too much trouble in this case. Replace the display cable in the connector. I could do that, yes. I dare say the display probably will need replacing too, but we'll see. I'm kind of hoping I can maybe get away with not even having to replace the connector, at least initially. But you see, the trouble is, if I take this board out and do actual work on it, then what I charge for it, along with getting a replacement cable and the time involved, it's probably not going to be worth it. Brush your teeth, kids. Don't let the corrosive plaque take away your life choices. Oh, yeah, okay. Nah, that's gone. There's nothing left of those backlight pins. It's a goner. Yeah, no. Yeah. Throw in the towel already, yes. Like I said, there will be people who say it's only, you can get a replacement one of those, you can get a replacement connector. It's like, yeah, I mean, okay, you wait a month and a half for AliExpress to send it, and if you're lucky, they're the right ones. And then we've got the keyboard to deal with, and then the screen's probably also got liquid damage through it. It's just not worth it. If it had just been that connector and the bit of junk on the flex, then it would have been entertaining to, have a shot. But once I could see that the flat flex is all messed up, that's the end of the road. Data recovery might not even be something they care about. It's a student laptop. In most cases, at least here in Australia, student laptops, any data on them relating to schoolwork and things like that should actually already be backed up on the cloud. But we'll see. There could be other photos on there that maybe the parents have put on or something like that, and they'll want those. I'm leaving the battery disconnected, but that's it. This is getting closed up. End of the road, unfortunately. Check if there is something on the back side of memory. Ah, damn you, creature. I just clipped this damn thing in. No, well. Fortunately, these ones aren't too hard to get apart. It's 4 GB. Nothing on the memory. The memory is intact and fine. What is this, a DDR3? Or a DDR4? This is a DDR4. Yeah. It's kind of useful as a testing stick, but I rarely ever get the situation now where I have to swap one of those in. BER indeed, Beyond Economical Repair, for those who don't know what BER stands for and are just wondering. Yes, sadly, BER outcomes are very common. Alright, well, unfortunately that's the end of the road for tonight then. Probably a good thing. I need to go work on my software. I need to go work on working out how to sign my Apple software with my newly acquired Apple's developer certificates, and I've got a bunch of other things I've got to work out. So, thanks for watching. At least we found that one cap with the big fat cracks through it. I'm glad we did that, because that would have been an annoying phantom repair, and it could have kept coming back and forth and taking a while. So I'm glad that one got fixed. You all take care. I'll see you next time. Till then, catch you later.